Greetings, everyone. This is Terry Naturally with Terry Talks Nutrition. I'm here every weekend, same time, same station, same place. You can't miss me. If you want to join me, you know where I am. And I hope you do. I say it all the time, and I'll say it over and over again, because if you're suffering and you have arthritis, you are troubled with pain, any condition that you are facing now has come from our past lifestyle choices. We make the conditions that we suffer from. Now, that's hard to take. It's hard to accept that we ourselves causing our diseases. Diseases are not randomly given out. We may come into this world in a weakened condition, but the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So our mom was not eating well, not following the principles of health. But now we're here, and we came in here with what we have, so let's make the best of what we have and make it better. We can make our health better, no question. It's not up to your doctor to decide what to do for you. Your doctor doesn't know how to create health in your body. Doesn't have the answers for health. Never went to school for health. And all the time that the doctor has gone through med school, they have had about 3 hours on health and nutrition. And the drug companies don't care if you are healthy or not. In fact, they love you sick. That way they sell much, much more drugs. Many prescriptions, because we are sick. And we think the answer is to our sickness is drugs. Doctor, give me this drug. Doctor, I want Ozempic. I want Wegovy. And because it's advertised on TV, we are then prompted to demand from our doctor more drugs. But it's not making us healthier. There's no country in the world besides the United States that allows drug companies to advertise on TV. When I talk to people in Europe, and we talk about the FDA, we talk about nutrition, we talk about healthy products, we talk about prescriptions, they laugh. They can't believe that any government would allow TV ads for drugs. That's the doctor's knowledge. And you may need some drugs. I don't think drugs are entirely bad, but they're bad when they prescribe them for metabolic diseases that are caused by the choices that you and I both make. We have to swallow that. No pun intended. But we make choices that are not in our best interest. We party too much, we drink too much, we smoke too much, we're too fat, we're obese. That's our choices. And smoking and obesity are now the two common causes of most of our diseases, including cancer. There will never be a cure for cancer. What we do daily will cause cancer. But now we have some help with that as well, because the FDA is allowing cancer-causing preservatives, colors, dyes, chemicals, preservatives, I mentioned that one, pesticides. All that junk that's in our environment is cancer causing. So now is the year of choices. You can make better choices when you learn more. So I hope you're here to learn more how to make better choices. Sugar is your enemy. And most carbohydrates are your enemy as well, because 95% of all the carbohydrates consumed by Americans is highly refined and processed. And you know, all the carbohydrates, bread, pasta, cookies, desserts, candy, whatever, soft drinks, they are all laden with sugar. And bread turns into sugar. Potatoes turn into sugar. Starch turns into sugar. So not only are we eating pure sugar, but we're eating the carbohydrates that are then converted to sugar in the body. So by eating more protein and better quality of fats and very low carbohydrates, we can have a much, much healthier life, a better quality of life. So I'm not going to spend more time on this because I do it often, maybe too often, but I just want you to get the idea that we have to change. The doctor does not have the answer. The drug companies don't have the answer. We have the answer, and it's food. Food is our medicine. And food cures diseases, prevents diseases, and treats diseases. We just have to go back to the traditional food of years ago. So now we're going to talk about a variety of topics today to help you understand even more about your health. We're going to talk about how to restore adrenal function in your body. Your adrenals, 2 little glands. Each one sits on the top of a kidney. They weigh about 5 grams. They're very, very tiny. They're about the size of a kidney bean. But they're very, very powerful. And they keep us healthy with plenty of energy, reduces fatigue and exhaustion, make us think better. We have a better attitude. People that have adrenal weakness or adrenal insufficiency are very weak overall, weak muscles, weak attitude. They're crying all the time. They're complaining all the time. And they're never healthy. They're always sick. They have allergies. They have cold and flu. They just don't have strength. The adrenals make us strong. The stronger the adrenals, the more hormones that are excreted from the adrenals, the stronger we are individually. And how would you like to know if you're going to get Alzheimer's disease? And stop stressing about your work. It's not going to get you anywhere. How about some dietary comparisons? Like what happens in the United States food-wise versus Europe. And then we'll talk about more research on the benefits of short burst exercise. You only need 10 minutes in some cases. 10 minutes of exercise can do you a world of good. 10 minutes out of a day. And then let's take a look at a closer look of your sciatic nerve. Boy, if that thing ever gets hot, it's hot. You got excruciating pain. And did you know that coffee and tea reduce cancer risk? And then we'll mention some of the best-selling drugs in 2024. And probably will top that in 2025. We have a lot more on our list of topics. So let's just get into some of these topics and try to understand more about how we can be healthy. The adrenal glands, one of our subjects today. The adrenal glands produce hormones for energy, for strengthening the immune system, giving us a great mood. People that have very weak adrenals are always irritable. They're never happy. They're depressed. They're anxious. Our adrenals make us so much stronger and provide better muscle strength as well. And there's a hormone, 2 hormones. One is DHEA, and the other one is cortisol. And cortisol is one of the most important adrenal hormones. When we have overworked adrenal glands, which you might refer to as adrenal burnout, then you can cause sensitivity to cold, low blood pressure. You know, the doctors say your blood pressure is too high, but sometimes they may see it low, and they say, that's great. No, it's not great. Low blood pressure is not good. High blood pressure is not good. 120/80 is good. So sometimes when you see it's 90/60, the doctor might say, wow, that's great. You don't have high blood pressure. No, it's even worse. You might be dragging around all day because you have low blood pressure. You're weak. You have a bad attitude. You're complaining all the time. You're never happy. You're crying all the time. because you are so depleted. Your blood pressure is too low. That is always one of the key signs to adrenal insufficiency, when your adrenals are not working optimally or adequately enough. You have a weak heart, a weak pulse. You have a very slow metabolism. You're constipated. You have frequent illnesses, allergies, cold and flu. You get everything. Wow, did they miss me this time? No, I got it again and again and again. You're fearful all the time. You make mountains out of molehills. Never, never happy. That's all with people that have very weak adrenals. But you can strengthen them. And we'll help you do that today. And diet is so critical to the adrenal function. Food. So for the person that has all these symptoms, or might be struggling with low blood pressure, the best diet is high in protein and very low in carbs or carbohydrates, and high in high quality fats, and including saturated fat. People that have weak adrenals feel so much better eating meat, eggs, cheese, fish, all the good quality proteins. And you should have protein 3 times a day. And for some people, they even need a protein snack in between. What is a protein snack? A handful of walnuts and an ounce of cheese, 28 grams of cheese. In fact, that is one of my best recommendations for sleeping all night. Going to bed just after eating a handful of walnuts or nuts and an ounce of cheese. You'll sleep like a baby. And if you don't do that, and you've had a soft drink with a lot of sugar or junk, or you may have had a lot of carbs, like chips or whatever, and you go to bed and you fall asleep, after 2 hours or 3 hours of sleep, you're wide awake. That's because your blood sugar went up so high, and now it has come down crashing, and it makes you wide awake. People have more allergies and more asthma attacks during the night because of the blood sugar level dropping down. So get up. Go in and get an ounce of cheese and a tablespoon of almond butter or cashew butter or macadamia butter. Have a tablespoon of nut butter, an ounce of cheese, and go back to bed. I swear you'll fall fast asleep. The best sleep aid there is. I have given this to many, many people, and it's worked almost 95%. And then make sure you include salt, because those that have weak adrenals retain potassium and excrete all the salt. And one of the best things you can do for a person that's experiencing an adrenal attack, half a teaspoon of salt, or maybe even up to a teaspoon of salt, not rounded, flat, stir it into a glass of water and drink that. First thing in the morning will give you a better adrenal function for the entire day. Not refined white salt, but Celtic sea salt or Himalaya salt, the salt that has plenty of minerals in it. And if you want to know what my diet recommendations is, go to terrytalksnutrition.com. That's my website. I have over 300,000 people following my website. terrytalksnutrition.com. And click on Terry's Traditional Diet. Follow that diet. Because, folks, I have a personal testimonial. I have had a weak adrenals all my life. I can't tolerate carbohydrates at all. I keep my carbohydrates down to 20 to 40 grams per day. Sometimes none in some days. I eat protein and fat. Protein and fat. And you don't get fat. Nobody will ever convince me that anybody would ever get fat eating fat. People get fat from eating carbohydrates and sugar that turn to fat. in the body. All sugar turns to fat. Actually doesn't turn to fat, but it converts to fat and it stores it temporarily for an emergency. And when the body has so much fat, the fat in the cells block the sugar from being burned for energy, and it raises in the bloodstream. And the doctor says, "Oh, you've got a high blood sugar level. You're a diabetic." No, you're not a diabetic. You just crave sugar, and you eat too much sugar. Stop eating the sugar. That's the answer to type 2 diabetes. You don't need carbohydrates. You don't need sugar. All proteins are essential. We need protein every day. We need fats every day. Yes, we do. You can't go on a low-fat diet and be healthy. Impossible. Your hair will be terrible. Your skin will be terrible. You'll be dried out. Terrible. I've seen people go through it. Oh, no, I have to be on a fat-free diet. I'm trying to lose weight. No, you want more fat to lose weight. Eat more fat to lose weight. Sounds crazy, but it's the chemistry of the body that responds to what you are eating that makes the difference. Don't believe anybody that says you should not eat fat. Fat's bad for your heart, bad for your cardiovascular system. It's not. In the early 1900s, we ate more fat, more protein, more good quality food. And now we're eating so many carbohydrates and sugar that everybody's sick. It's not the fat, it's the sugar. So go to the TerryTalksNutrition.com, click on my traditional diet. And that's the kind of diet I follow. I can't eat carbohydrates. I get so irritable. I'm not a nice person, to be honest with you, when I eat carbohydrates. You just get so funky, you can't believe it. But you got to change your diet. I changed my diet. I lost all kinds of weight. I was overweight, way overweight. My waistline right now is 30. I weigh 150 pounds. I'm 5'5". I had a waistline that was 36. That's the kind of waistline you find in a person that is over 6 feet tall. I'm not 6 feet tall, but I had a gut like a 6-foot person because I was overweight. So I took 6 inches off my waist by just following a healthy, traditional diet. Now, how can you restore adrenal gland function? Well, you can with adrenal extract. You know, when people have a malfunctioning thyroid, they take a thyroid extract. It could be Armour thyroid. That's the thyroid that they extract from a pig. And it substitutes for our thyroid. Well, you can also get adrenal extract that substitutes for our adrenals. And adrenal extracts have been used to treat adrenal gland function and for other benefits since at least the 1930s. It was a common medicine in those days. But it's a food. You could ask your butcher for a pound of adrenal extract. It would take an awful lot of adrenal extract. Or you can have it in a supplement, in a capsule form. Adrenal gland extract bovine, meaning from cow, is a natural source of active hormones from the adrenals and other nutrients to stimulate the adrenal glands and improve their beneficial function. Now make sure the adrenal gland extract you buy, or it may be in a supplement where there are other nutrients as well, which I will get to in a moment. But make sure the adrenal extract is grass-fed animals, particularly from Argentina. They use no chemicals, no hormones, no pesticides, which is a very preferred source of adrenal extract. Now, the best formulation I've ever seen is with the adrenal extract. That is the primary focus. But combined with other nutrients, such as licorice root extract, Rhamania, which is another herb. Both licorice and Rhamania support adrenal function. A very, very excellent hormone called pregnenolone, which produces DHEA, are both from the adrenal glands. And we can use those as a substitute to rebuild the adrenal glands. And vitamin C. And a very high biologically active vitamin B6 called P5P. And pantothenic acid. And L-tyrosine. Now, L-tyrosine is an amino acid. It is both extremely critical for thyroid function and adrenal function, and prevents chronic fatigue and adrenal burnout. We can't make these hormones without L-tyrosine. It's found in protein. It's an amino acid. These are very healthy for us. So I would say this kind of combination, maybe once, 2, 3 times a day, depending on how bad you are off, how bad your adrenals are functioning. Now, some people might have 1 capsule and feel fantastic. Some people may need 2 or 3. Depends on how challenged they are with an adrenal function. Now, here's a very interesting question. Are you going to get Alzheimer's disease? Well, there's a little bit of a knowledge here, because there are ways to predict. Hidden fat predicts Alzheimer's disease. Obesity. Almost 60% of Americans are obese. 60%. In the 1970s, it was 6%. Now it's 60%. And by the year 2050, if we do not change our lifestyle and our lifestyle choices, every American will be obese. And this obesity has already shown to be a very high risk factor for Alzheimer's disease. Thin is in. If you're thin, you're going to be much, much healthier. Get rid of all those fat cells. Lose that 20, 30, 40, 50, 200, 300 pounds. And now in a new study, researchers found a connection between a very specific type of fat, known as visceral fat, also known as belly fat. If you have belly fat, or a pot belly, or a beer belly, or a wheat belly, or a bread belly, they're all coming from a different type of food, but they are coming because you're eating too much wheat, too much beer. You're creating too big of a pot belly. So you are increasing the risk of getting Alzheimer's disease when you have excessive visceral fat. That's all the fat that's inside the abdominal walls, inside the organs, outside of the organs, in between the organs, replacing the organs with fat rather than healthy tissue. You can actually almost replace the entire liver with fat. You won't be healthy, but that's what causes fatty liver disease. Now, in a study, they examined 80 middle-aged people using body scans to measure their visceral fat, the fat levels, and any inflammation or changes in their brains. And here are some unbelievable results. People with the highest amounts of visceral fat, that's the fat in your abdominal cavity, also had 36% higher levels of inflammatory C-reactive protein. C-reactive protein is a kind of like a measuring stick. You use a dipstick to measure your oil, right, in your car? Well, C-reactive protein is a marker that determines how much inflammatory functions are going on in your body, how much inflammation you have. 36% more inflammation. Now, you know inflammation is harmful. For short term, it's necessary. That's the way we heal injuries or accidents. Whatever it comes from, inflammation has to be there to help heal that injured area. But when we have chronic inflammation, that comes from having too much fat, too much sugar, not eating fat. We are just fat, and it all comes from sugar and carbohydrates, not fat. Now, there are bad fats. All the seed oil are bad fats because the seed oils are inflammatory. Hold on there, folks. I just saw the clock on the wall, and it's ticking past where my time is. I've got to stop for a moment to let you listen to some commercials, and I'll be right back with more right here on Terry Talks Nutrition. I'm Terry Naturally. More right after this. And greetings, everyone. We're back again, and we'll be here to the top of the hour. And more information on why hidden fat predicts Alzheimer's disease. It's not really hidden because you can see who is over fat. But in the study, they call it hidden fat. I don't believe it's hidden. I can see the fat on everybody. And the more fat you have, the more disease you have, the more sickness you have, the more illness you have. Why? Why? Why do you want to be fat? You're satisfying taste and pleasure and not health. And then when you're unhealthy, you cry about it. Then you go to your doctor and you want a drug. And the drug's going to make you more unhealthy. So all that fat causes a 36% higher levels of inflammatory C-reactive protein. That's the measuring stick to determine how much inflammation your body has. When you complain about arthritis, that's inflammation. When you complain about type 2 diabetes, that's inflammation. When you talk about heart disease and the clogging of your arteries, that's inflammation. When you talk about a headache, that's inflammation. Why do you want inflammation? You are eating a diet that is pro-inflammatory. That means you're making inflammation every day. So people say it's bad for us, but nobody does anything about it. You got to lose weight. And it also, all that fat causes a 16% lower good cholesterol level, the HDL. The HDL, also known as the good cholesterol. It's 16% lower in fat people. And more than double the amount of beta amyloid plaque in the brain, which is associated with Alzheimer's disease. More than double. And in a recent study using an animal model of visceral fat, giving aronia berry extract to animals fed an unhealthy diet reduced visceral fat levels by 25%. Aronia berry, I love them. I have a cup of it every day. I make a protein drink and I throw a cup of aronia berries in my protein drink. Well, why? Well, there's so much benefit I can't even go into it. That's a different subject. But first of all, they're not a sweet berry. They're very tart, very dry, like drinking a dry wine. So they kind of pucker up your mouth. It's an astringent. So I don't eat them, but in my drink, you can't even tell they're there. My drink is almost black. People like to say, I have had my green drink. Well, I have my black drink. And I'll take my black drink over a green drink any day. Loaded with aronia berries, sometimes bilberries, sometimes black currant berries. But aronia berry extract, when fed to animals on an unhealthy diet that would cause extra visceral fat levels, they dropped it by 25%. That means you're losing weight, 25%, as well as reducing blood sugar levels and lowers the weight gain by 10%. some people up to 20%. So that is how people are predicting, scientists are predicting Alzheimer's disease, by how much fat you carry. And if no one wants to have Alzheimer's disease, not worth it. Now stop stressing about your work and start sleeping more. So is work stress keeping you up at night? Well, according to a recent survey, 66% of Americans have lost sleep because of job-related stress. Even 15 minutes less sleep than usual has been found to interfere with judgment and productivity at work, increasing stress levels even more. Lack of sleep makes you less productive. In a study of over 600,000 workers, those who slept 5 hours or less per night had significantly worse productivity versus employees sleeping at least 8 hours a night. We really truly do need 8 to 9 hours of sleep. Most people don't get anywhere close to 8 to 9 hours. And when your body is not charged, every night you put your phone on charge, well, that's what happens to us when we go to bed at night. But we need 8 to 9 hours to get charged. On 5 to 6 hours, our body is not charged. That makes you more irritable, more prone to stress, more prone to cold and flu. Just not healthy. And you get everything that goes around, everything, all the flu, all the cold, you get it all the time. And it makes your adrenal glands even weaker. So stop thinking about work at night. Oh, I know. It's easier said than done, right? I know that. When you've got things on your mind, it's hard to stop. You're thinking about what has to be done, what should have been done, why you didn't do it, why you did it the wrong way, why you got yelled at work. All kinds of things going on at work that just stress you out. Got it. I know it. I know how you feel. But a recent exercise study in subjects, patients, being treated for mental illnesses, found that 30 minutes of exercise reduced obsessing about problems that night by almost 30%. So if you exercise, and sometimes you don't need sometimes you don't need 30 minutes, 10 minutes. Start with 10 minutes of exercise before you go to bed at night. You'll sleep much, much better. You'll have natural relaxation to help you sleep better. But if you need something to take the edge off, that you can sleep better, melatonin sets your body up for sleep. It's not a sedative. It's not toxic. There are no side effects whatsoever with melatonin. It's not a hormone. It's a miracle molecule. The doctors that have researched melatonin, we can't live without it. And we can take it day or night. Yeah, of course, if you want to sleep better at night, you take it at night. Take it at dusk, at sunset. That's the time the body would naturally release it if you have a sufficient quantity. Take 5 to 10 milligrams of melatonin at sunset. Not before bedtime. Put it in rhythm with your body's chemistry. Now, there's another way too, essential oils. Now, essential oils, since we don't secrete essential oils, those that are best for sleep are lavender, lemon balm, Ravensara, mandarin orange are relaxing and calming, and they should be taken just before bedtime, like about an hour before bedtime. And with their relaxing and calming effect, will lead you to a restful sleep without morning grogginess. You'll not feel hungover. You'll not be sedated. It's extremely effective. Now, if you have anxiety and you've gone to bed, you're going to be anxious all night. You're going to toss and turn. You're going to think about everything. Your mind is racing. Well, clinical studies have shown that 20 to 40 milligrams of a quickly reduced combination from Echinacea, the species of angustifolia, there is a complex group of chemicals found naturally in the plant called alkaloids. Now, I know you know Echinacea, or you probably have heard of it. You may not have used it, but it's for cold and flu, just as effective as Tamiflu. But that's because of the alkaloids, because of the sugar compounds. Those that are found in Echinacea do help to reduce cold and flu. But there's another group of compounds that are found in Echinacea that's called alkaloids. And the alkaloids are extracted out of the Echinacea, and you only need very, very tiny quantities, 20 to 40 milligrams once or twice daily. It quickly reduces anxiety and nervousness and tension and stress. It just takes the edge off. You feel better. You can take it anytime you want, day or night. And it is so safe that children over the age of 4 can take this very special form of Echinacea that is standardized for the alkaloids. Now, if it was for cold and flu, then you would want it to contain the polysaccharides. But we're not talking about cold and flu. We want it to reduce anxiety, unusual tension, nervousness. Take the edge off and feel better, day or night. Now, here are some dietary comparisons. How do the people in the United States eat versus those in Europe? How does the U.S. health compare? A new study finds that ultra-processed foods are much less popular in Europe. Many foods that are served, in fact, brand name foods, like ketchup, have like 20 ingredients in the American version, and the same brand sold in the UK has about 25 to 50% less of the ingredients. Why? It tastes the same. There's no difference. No one has found out why they load up so many chemicals in the American version of processed foods or ultra-processed foods. But according to study findings, Europeans get an average of 12% of their daily calories from ultra-processed foods. 12% junk food. And in America, Americans are eating 57% of ultra-processed foods. Oh my God. 12% in Europe, 57% in Americans, for Americans. Food additives are also more regulated in Europe. The European Union has approved about 400 food additives versus more than 3,000 approved food additives in the U.S. So on the average, the U.S. spends about twice as much for health care per person as other large wealthy nations but has the lowest life expectancy. We're killing ourselves with the food we eat. We're digging our graves with the food we eat. Our healthcare cost has gone up unbelievable, skyrocketed. And people are not healthy. We're in terrible shape. Now, if you want to be healthier and be more fit, here's some more research on the benefits of what is called short burst exercise. Short periods. Very short periods. 2 minutes of exercise. Now let me quantify that. A burst of activity is great for the heart. Previous research has shown that short burst exercise can reduce the risk of death from any cause. No particular reason, just from any cause at all. It can reduce as much as 40%. And in a new study, researchers looked at the effects of short burst exercise on reduction of heart disease risk specifically. 22,000 people wore an activity tracker for a week. And then researchers noted any health issues they developed over the next 8 years. From the result of this study, women who had just 1 to 2 minutes burst of activity, enough to raise their heart rates, cut the risk of heart attacks by 33%. 1 to 2 minutes. Now, 3 to 4 minutes of activity reduce the risk of heart attacks by 50%. Wonder what your doctor would say if they knew that. And they're doling out medications like crazy for heart disease, cardiovascular disease. They're talking about fat being bad for us, saturated fats being bad for us, meat being bad for us. And if you did just 3 to 4 minutes of activity, reduce your risk of a heart attack by 50%. What drug on the market today can reduce heart attacks by 50%? Take the stairs. Run around a bit with your dog. Carry something heavy across the garage. It all counts. Everything you do. I crack up because I see people driving around the exercise gym or workout place, and they want a parking place next to the door. But then they're going to go in and work out. They are afraid to park down the block and walk. But it all counts. The more you move, the more you exercise. If you wanted to do something for 3 or 4 times a week, I love the exercise with kettlebells. Kettlebell, if you're not familiar with it, is like a cannonball with a handle. And you can do a kettlebell swing. Everybody and anybody can do a kettlebell swing. It just depends on the weight of the kettlebell. You don't want to use a 50-pound kettlebell. You might only use a 5-pound kettlebell. But if you do it according to your measure of activity, you do 20 or 30 kettlebell swings. And if you don't know what a kettlebell swing is, go to Google and Google kettlebell swing. Or go to my website, terrytalksnutrition.com, and I am showing you how to do the kettlebell swing. And you do this 20 or 30 times to where you are breathless, and then you stop and you walk around the room, or you run around the room, or you run out into the garage and come back, or you get on a stationary bicycle and you passively rest for 2 minutes. That's a 3-minute cycle. You do that 5 or 6 times. So totally you are exercising 15 to 18 minutes. In a short few months, you're going to be amazed at how well you feel. And you're going to reduce a huge quantity of the diseases today that people are dying from. You can stop death. You can stop dying early. You can reduce heart attacks and strokes by just moving. It's not hard. It doesn't cost you any money unless you want to buy a kettlebell. And that's only one charge. Maybe about $30. $30, and you can do this at home. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to dress up or get in a car or drive someplace and it's cold and you don't want to go out. Do it in your house. You can do it in front of your TV set. Just do it. No excuses. Just do it. If you want to have a healthy life. Sciatica. Ugh. I have never had a sciatic nerve problem. But I know people that have, and it's terrible. Sciatic nerve pain. Ooh, terrible. In fact, it's the largest nerve in the body. And when that gets on fire, it's a fire. It extends from your lower back, across your butt, down the back of each thigh. And the most common symptom of sciatica is pain that starts in the lower back, shoots down one leg, and sometimes all the way down into the foot. It's that big, that long. Now, what causes sciatic nerve pain? It's caused by compression on the spine, usually from a herniated disc. But diabetic neuropathy is another very common condition causing the compression of the nerve, causing sciatic nerve pain. Sports injuries, another one, very common. A car accident, a tumor, or other factors may lead to sciatic pain. Sometimes there's no reason, or at least it can't be identified. But the pain is there, that's for sure. But why it started, no one knows sometimes. I wonder sometimes if athletes think they have a hamstring problem when maybe they have a sciatic nerve pain. Now, maybe they're treating the wrong thing. They're not the same. So you can treat it with natural supplements very, very easily. You can stop sciatic pain. And sometimes it can last 4 to 6 weeks. I wonder why some athletes are on the sideline for 4 to 6 weeks. And in some people, actually it can become chronic, a chronic condition of nerve pain. NSAIDs like ibuprofen help a little bit, but I don't know, if at all, maybe. For sciatic nerve, they may stop inflammation, but don't relieve the pain. And many practitioners don't recommend them. They cause too much damage in the long term. Some natural options to try. A combination of nutrients. Alpha-lipoic acid. The Germans use it as a treatment for diabetes type 2. And B vitamins, commonly referred to as ALA, alpha-lipoic acid. And it has been shown to relieve sciatic nerve pain and reduce need for conventional painkillers. Alpha-lipoic acid with a combination of the B vitamins like B12, P5P, vitamin B6, folic acid. Now, another substance that is just coming to the forefront. It's called PEA. P, not green peas, black peas, PEA. It's a in fact, that's the acronym for a word that is probably 25 letters long. I guess I must have skipped school that day. But in a controlled study of patients with low back pain, sciatic pain, P was extremely effective at reducing pain. The dosage was about 600 milligrams daily. More than likely, you will find a capsule with 300 milligrams. So take 2 a day. Maybe one can do it, maybe 2. And if you need, you can double that for a week or 2, up to 1,200 milligrams. But it's a godsend. I've had people tell me their testimonials that when they took P, their pain was gone sometimes in minutes. It's worth trying. Helpful lipoic acid and B vitamins, and also the supplement called PEA. Well, folks, I'm all out of time. I've got to run. That time goes by way, way too fast. But say a prayer for this crazy world. And God bless you, my friends. And God bless this great country.
Thank you for listening to Terry Talks Nutrition Weekly Show. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple, Google, and iHeartRadio.